Are y'all ready for TV magic?
Did it look like I was doing it?
Oh yeah.
That was my voice on the track.
Good morning,
everybody.
everyone. Welcome to Wake Up in Provincetown. Thanks for being with us this morning.
We know it's early. This is show number 11.
Is
Can you
it?
believe it? Yeah.
Wow.
Look, you guys, this is the first show after Labor Day.
Mm-hmm. The first post-season show.
I know, it's like a huge sigh of relief after Labor Day every year, except this year.
Right, there'll be no sighs of relief.
No, keep working.
Yeah, we're continuing to work. Town still seems really busy, which is great. Every day I hear about more people that plan on staying through the fall, staying through the winter. I'm very excited for our winter community this year.
Trevor was estimating that there's going to be about 5,000 extra people here this winter, right?
It's quite the numerologist.
Yeah. Ballpark.
Unconfirmed. But we're really excited for a busy winter season. Yeah. Hopefully,
How was your week?
I did stuff this week,
I know,
guys.
that's why I can't wait to hear you talk about it.
So right after the show I worked here at the brewery last Friday, and then I hit up Be Well Cannabis for their first day open. I got a really great indica, and I also got some gummies. I've tested them both; they're fantastic. But it was a great experience. It was awesome. It's a beautiful store. It was really fun. Janet greeted me at the door. Our very own Janet, the seamstress, is the door girl at Be Well. And then David Hasse was behind the counter. It felt really cute. It felt like hanging out with your friends and buying weed, just like the good old days.
Congratulations, Karen and the Be Well team.
Yeah, congrats. I also had a friend come into town, and we did a little bar food crawl. We hit up every place in town. We went to the Red Inn, we went to the Boat Slip, Crown and Anchor, JD's, the brewery.
In one day?
Yeah.
Were you...
Well, I was working at the brewery. They were enjoying.
Were you blackout eating pasta at Front Street and abandoning your phone there?
No, I only do that in November. Another really fun thing I did this week, I met up with photographer Sean Treadwell. He's doing a series called The Washashores. It's all based around local people that live and work in town. It's a really beautiful thing. He said, is the picture up yet?
Jonathan?
Look how gorgeous I am.
Wow. Wait a minute. Am I looking at it? Where is it? Is it here? Is it here? Oh,
Here.
what? Are you actually really hot and I just never knew? Should I have been letting you treat me like garbage for the last 6 months?
Yeah, always. But Sean Treadwell, you saw him as our local character a few weeks ago. He's working on this series. You can actually go to his Instagram, and under the highlights, he has the full series. It features Mikey Labrunia, Carolyn, who else? Joel Pedro Santos, Ben Weinrib Grosskal.
Our live
I haven't
performer
seen that one
today,
yet.
LMNOP.
Trevor did it. There's a bunch that he's done that he hasn't released yet, but there's a good amount up already. The brewery's own Maddie did it.
Gorgeous.
But it's a really cool shoot. Yeah, and
Awesome.
I'm very happy with the results.
You need to make that your new scruff profile
I think that's a
picture.
bad idea because I don't actually look like that.
But it's you.
Sure. But I feel like if you saw that picture and then I showed up looking like a derp,
A derp.
I don't know that people would appreciate that. I feel like I would be catfishing people.
No, you need to just bring a little thing of water. And
I'm
just,
Great.
it's dripping off of you.
Great. How was your week, Bob?
Started and ended making fun of you. So great. Another great week in Provincetown. No, I actually did have a really nice week, but I do. Well, first of all, we need to talk about this show that we have this morning. We have such a great show for everybody. Right. We've got LMNOP here doing a live performance.
We have Athena and Chastity from the Transgender Emergency Fund stopping by for a chat.
Thank you for coming all the way to Provincetown, ladies.
We also have Ruben Gonzalez from the Victory Institute. And I did a little pre-taped interview with activist Adam Eli, so get ready for that.
And especially at the very end of the show, for those of you that missed Showgirls all summer like we didn't get any of them. But always at the last Showgirls every year, Miss Penny Champagne does Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, and everybody in the room lights a candle, and then we all extinguish them together at the end of the number, and it's this magical, communal, loving moment that we do every year, and we have a video of Penny doing it from a couple summers ago.
Oh, yay.
So that would be...
So we're ending the summer here on Wake Up in Provincetown?
This is the official end of the summer when Penny does this song.
Totally.
And then it's that's it. It's the Monday after late. So it's this upcoming Monday would have been the Showgirls where she did this.
And that's when they do Showgirl of the Year.
All the Showgirl awards are given out. Yeah. So I'm so excited to have this. We got permission from Penny to show it, but not from Stevie Nicks to play the music.
So we'll see. Stevie, if you're watching, we're sorry.
Sorry, Lindsay. Everybody else who had a hand in writing this gorgeous... It was just Stevie, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Nobody else wrote it. It's just her. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, today we need to have a moment of remembrance for 9/11. It is September 11th. All of our friends and family in New York.
19 years.
19 years. Can you believe it's already been 19 years? It feels very recent. But I just remember in that moment thinking, we are, as a country, are united, and I would love to get back to that brand of patriotism that we all shared then.
Right.
Where
Without a horrible
being a patriot
tragedy.
didn't mean hating each other; it meant all hating the same person together. And I really want to get back to all of us hating the same person together.
Do you want to pick a person to hate?
How many do I get?
Just one.
Kellyanne Conway.
Okay.
Even her husband and kids hate her. I mean, come on.
I would have gone closer to the top, but okay.
Can't being a patriot just mean hating Kellyanne Conway? I was going to say Donald Trump, but he's an easy mark.
Right.
Anyway, also today, it is 9/11, and this is Ryan Landry's first art show that he's hosting at 1 Baker Avenue from 5 to 7 tonight. We had Ryan on as a local character a couple of weeks ago. He's a very, very dear old friend of ours, and we want to wish him a successful night. I'm sure half of the pieces are sold already.
Well, you bought one already.
I did. Well, we
I
did.
think
Yep.
the best one. No, I mean, they're all amazing, but...
You haven't even been yet.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of it when we were filming.
There's more, dozens
Great.
more. And he's also got, if you go to RyanLandryFactory.com, there's shower curtains, mugs, t-shirts. You can put those paintings on any number of things.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Ryan. I hope you guys do great tonight. They are only letting a couple of people in the yard at a time. It's all outdoor, masks mandatory, proper spacing. It's a very safe event to go to, very art and community minded, and congratulations.
Awesome. Any more local news?
One more local news story before we move on. The town crier, Ken Lonergan, has decided after 13 years to hang up his pilgrim hat and bell for good. He's retiring. I believe he was the first town crier that the Chamber of Commerce hired to do this, and he's been doing it for 13 years. You might know him from his famous phrase on Commercial Street, hear ye, all's well in Provincetown because you're here.
I think this is a really great audition, Bob.
Well, I was just going to announce my candidacy for this. They're going to restitch the costume. I'm going to wait until I'm finished being vetted for town manager. Remember when I announced my candidacy for town manager too? So I'm going to be the town manager, the town crier. I'm going to cry while I'm managing, and I'm going to manage to cry. That's local news for you
I just
today.
want to announce that we're endorsing Bob Keary for manager crier, crying manager. Yeah.
Hear ye. Thank you, everybody.
Global news.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't really global news, but I just want to talk about the Oscars. The Oscars announced a new diversity initiative, and they have new stipulations for movies that are being considered for the Best Picture nomination. This comes after much criticism over the last few years, specifically in 2016 when the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite went viral after every single person in the acting categories were white people.
Was that the same year that the old white people announced the name of the white people dancing movie instead of Moonlight as the winner for Best Picture?
That was the year after.
Oh, it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was 2017. But in 2016, every single person nominated in acting category was white. And another example of how they've not done a great job with diversity, they're out of every director ever that's been nominated for Best Director, only 3 of them have been women.
That's true.
Which doesn't seem like a great ratio.
It's not.
So the way they're doing it is they've released a series of stipulations, and they're asking all movies being considered for Best Picture to meet at least 2 of them. So out of there's 4 categories, and you have to meet at least 2. One is at least one of the lead or significant supporting actors has to be from a marginalized group, at least 30% of supporting or minor roles from at least 2 different groups, at least 2 creative or department heads. Or the last one, the main storyline theme or narrative is centered around an underrepresented group. So you have to meet at least 2 of those, which I think is great. There's been people kind of admonishing the Oscars saying this is like anti-art, which I think is a little ridiculous. I think art should be created representing the full spectrum of human beings, but also like you should also not be making art for the Oscars, I think. If winning Best Picture is your like only goal, like maybe hand it off to someone else to make some movies.
Hot take.
That's just my personal opinion. Awesome.
Does that mean that your rave is what you're ranting or you're raving?
I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I'm on the fence.
This is our rave and rant portion.
I was gonna rave, but then Bob did something that I want to rant about.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, well then I'm gonna rant too though, but just for a second. I have to rant, if you'll allow me, against these gender reveal parties.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not only because of the destruction that they cause, 7 or 8,000 acres of wildfire in California are due to like pyrotechnics at a gender reveal party. Everything that you're watching burn down. Why are people doing this?
It's pretty foolish.
Did you see? There's a video of a guy like throwing a balloon into an alligator's mouth, and it chomps down and like blue things fall out, and it's like, it's a boy. I'm like, why?
Where did that happen?
Huh?
What state was that in?
I'd rather not say.
I'm gonna guess Florida.
I'm gonna guess Florida. No, not Delaware, Molly.
Maine.
Damn it, Molly. Love to Delaware. Molly didn't mean that. But
the original creator of gender reveal parties has since come out and said they're stupid and to stop doing them. So.
And her child now identifies as transgender.
Right, which is why she thinks she realizes how foolish they are and how.
It's foolish. It's ridiculous.
It's a little
it's
damaging.
Super wasteful.
Yeah.
Like, don't release balloons in the air anymore for any reason.
Never buy a balloon, never look at a balloon. Balloons are the worst, they're disgusting. Next time you're on the beach, start noticing balloons. They're everywhere on the beach because every time someone releases 100 of them into the sky for whatever reason, they all end up in the ocean and they all end up washed up on beaches. I know you're like, there's not that many balloons on the beach. Trust me, there are.
That's my rant, that's all.
Did I just rant about balloons?
A little bit.
Do I get an extra rant?
Of course you do.
Yay. Well, I'm going to rant against the word actually when in a compliment, which is what Bob did.
Are you actually really sexy?
Exactly. I just don't care for the word. I think it takes away any meaning to a compliment. I know you just meant to say, Harrison, you're really hot. Do you want to tell a story about a time that this may have happened to you? I don't.
Why?
Because my mom's watching.
Email Harrison at wakeupinptown.com and ask him yourself.
Yeah. Thanks, Bob. What's next?
Molly's going to take us back to a happy place.
Oh, yeah. Thank God. We're back. Sorry, my sister texted me to ask me what that story was. I'm also not going to tell my sister.
We're here with your weather and tides today, presented by P-Town Bikes. You guys, it's never too late to get your bike fixed. Go up and say hi to the guys up there. 10 to 5 every day on Bradford Street. Thank you, Bill.
Also, when it's not like great beach days, as we're moving towards cooler weather, if you want to get out and do something in nature, doing the bike trails on a really great bike from P-Town Bikes is pretty magical.
And it's probably a little less crowded out there than it was in August, where you were bound to, there were dozens of people out there every day. So our weather this weekend is looking very, very autumnal, if you ask me. When you woke up today, I don't know if you have these flashbacks where it's like that foggy, salty morning air. It reminded me of waiting for a bus, and like, you know, it's like I'm 6 years old waiting for the bus in the fall because it's back to school weather. It's like that smell, and you can hear the crickets chirping.
I just have like PTSD of me like running down my driveway trying to catch the bus.
That's how you ran?
Yeah.
Were you dressed like that kid from
with like
Christmas
a 400-pound backpack on like this? Yeah.
But it's like not going to be over 75 this week. It's going to be like low 70s, mostly sunny today, a little bit of clouds tomorrow, but a little bit of clouds also means mostly sunny.
So like shorts and a sweater?
Yeah, sweater weather. Look at Molly. Molly's dressed for fall, jeans, long sleeves.
She's got her belly out, but...
right. Well, I mean, wouldn't you?
That's going to be, yeah.
See? That is her scruff profile picture. Because she really does look like that.
Right.
Sunday it's going to be 73 and partly cloudy, and then we're going to see what happens. We had so much gorgeous rain the last couple of days. I think that's it for a little while.
Yeah, we didn't get a lot this summer, so a little rain now and then. Provincetown could always use a good rinse.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tides this week. Tides for the beginning of the week are low around midday, which is perfect for walking to the beach, walking on the tidal flats over by the Red Inn and the P-Town Inn. There are high tides around sunset, which is really nice if you want to watch at either Herring Cove or Race Point. So,
yeah, get out there, enjoy all that Provincetown's nature has to offer you.
Yeah, I feel like now is the time to lean into nature in Provincetown. Yeah. Awesome.
Introduce our next segment, Harry.
Oh, before I do that, I just want to say make sure to follow us on subscribe, like on YouTube would be great. Also, like throw some comments in there so it gets sent out to more people. Yeah.
The dancing ladies, the coffee cups.
So many dancing ladies, so many coffee cups, a beer.
Bacon strips.
Bacon strips.
I just put some bacon strips in there.
Yum.
Some trees.
Trees, yes, trees too.
So,
trees.
This next segment isn't exactly a local character, but Adam Eli was in town, and he was in town visiting Adam's Nest because he has a new book out. It's called The New Queer Conscience. So I sat down with him for a minute to chat about the meaning of the book. Let's take it away, Adam.
Good morning, everyone. Today we are here with Adam Eli. He is the founder of Voices For and the author of a new book called The New Queer Conscience. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm thrilled to be here in P-Town.
It's your first time here in P-Town.
It's my first time here in P-Town, and I was supposed to leave today, and now I'm staying for an additional 2 days.
I feel like that's the theme of the summer, is extending vacations.
Yes, it's been so great, and I'm really thrilled to be here.
I'll convince you to move here before the end of the interview.
Okay,
don't worry.
honestly, easy and
Perfect.
easy and deal.
So, well, you're in town here because Adam's Nest here in town has decided to carry your book. You came to do a little signing.
Yes, I did. Adam's Nest in town. I'm a huge fan of Adam's Nest. He's been my #1 supporter for so long, and I'm pretty sure he's the first person to ever buy the book because he had them in stock in his shop well before anyone else did. And so I was, I had a bunch of big plans for the book launch that are no longer possible.
Right.
And so I really just I wanted to leave New York. I wanted to come somewhere that had its own unique culture. And I was just chatting with Adam anyway. And so, so I went to Adam's Nest and I signed a bunch of copies. They're still there.
Awesome. So the book is called The New Queer Conscience.
Yes.
What is the New Queer Conscience, if you could sum that up in a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the New Queer Conscience is essentially the idea that queer people anywhere are responsible for queer people everywhere. Which means that queer people, I always say that queer people are born equal, but the world does not treat us that way, and that different people experience the world and therefore queerness in different ways. However, at a baseline, for example, like a Black trans woman does not experience what it's like to be queer in the same way that a cis white gay man does.
Very true.
However, on a baseline, we do have one connection, at least, which is the idea that we were both born queer in a straight world. And that key basis is the foundation for a community which comes with so much brilliance and joy and history, which I talk about and which I'm literally surrounded by, but also the obligation to show up for each other.
So the mantra of queer people anywhere are responsible for queer people everywhere is very much something that I do feel like the Provincetown community should take to heart, because we live in a community, we've kind of developed a bit of a queer utopia here in Provincetown. What do you think our community could do to spread that vision across the world?
First of all, okay, that's an amazing question. And a few things. So one of the reasons that I was so interested in coming here, and one of the reasons I was so interested in working with Adam's Nest, is because I think in many ways, or in some ways, or quite a few ways, Provincetown does embody the idea of a new queer conscience, in that it is an intentional community. It is a group or groups of people that came here or are coming here with a very specific intention to create a space where queer people support each other and where queer people love each other. And I'm staying at your friend's, the Stowaway Inn, and I was there before I made the reservation. We were just chatting, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like you can stay here, you can like crash for the night," which was so incredibly sweet. And he said to me off the bat, he was like, "You know, the queer community needs to like take care of its own." And I was like, "Here is the book that I wrote that's all about that," you know. And an example of this new queer conscience that I give in the book is I talk about how historically queer people have not, but also sometimes have showed up for each other. And one of those is that when the lesbian community showed up for gay men during the AIDS crisis. And I talk about the Blood Sisters of San Diego in the book, but a stunning example would be here in Pittsburgh, where women really took care of the men, and from what I've learned and understand, they would take them to their doctor's appointments in Boston. And so that example just spoke to me so deeply, and is one of the reasons that I wanted to come here and talk about it. And so to address your question of how can we help the larger queer community, the first thing I always tell people to do is that engaging with international activism can sometimes feel difficult or overwhelming, but oftentimes it's a lot closer to home than you think. I won't speak to P-Town exactly because I'm not 100% sure, but 100% in Boston, I am sure that there are queer immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers that absolutely need a place to stay, or need a voucher for a free beer here, or need, like a skill share, or to have someone invite them over for dinner, or to have like a big P-Town day. So I always say, like, go into the LGBT center, or go and say, "Hi, my name is Harrison. This is what I do. How can I be? Who is your immigrant, asylum seeker group, and how can I best be of service?" And then from there, they'll tell you what they need and what the people abroad also need.
Our community does have community members that are here with a refugee status because of being queer in countries where it's it's awful to be queer.
Yes.
So a lot of our viewers might not know that we do have community members that are here on asylum vouchers.
Exactly. And so approaching folks that are on asylum vouchers and saying very cleanly and kindly, how can I best be of service? Because I really want to be crystal clear that I support the queer refugee community and that I'm here for you for anything that you need. And if they say no, then you can say, "Okay, that's so great. Let me know if there's anyone else in the refugee community that might need something," and you will have people with needs that you can fill. Things like temporary food insecurity, or like maybe a job, or like maybe the opportunity to bring their kids to the beach for a day but not have to pay for lunch. And it'll be flooded with requests. So I think that is one really important way to start, and then through those relationships, you'll be able to figure out how to work best through and do more international activism.
The Provincetown community has a lot of power, even though we might not realize it. We have Hillary Clinton visiting, we have Joe Biden visiting, Pete Buttigieg visiting. So there's a lot. Those politicians recognize the power that our community has and the strength that it has. It's also a very wealthy community, and with money comes power a lot of times. How do you think we could use our position in town, like when these politicians come, and what do you think we can impart onto our community to help things move forward?
absolutely. I think that's such an interesting question, and it's so true. The power at P-Town is abundantly clear to anyone with a cursory knowledge of queer American history, and certainly to anyone that comes and visits. So that much sure. And the next thing is that when I say queer people anywhere are responsible for queer people everywhere, that also means that all queer people are responsible for all different types of queer people. And so this really is like a really, from what I've seen so far, like a really beautiful, almost, verging on utopian space. But it is not super accessible. I mean, even just getting here is really difficult.
It's a $60 ferry ticket.
Exactly. And so I think finding ways to extend this utopian experience to all different types of queer people is really, really, really important. And I think a great place to start with is Boston and the Cape's Refugees Queer Asylum and Science Community.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today, Adam. You're doing some really incredible work. Your book looks amazing. You can pick this book up at Adam's Nest, signed copies.
Yes.
You want to get one of those, trust me. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. This was really incredible, and I look forward to seeing all the change that you make in the world. You're doing some really cool work.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for inviting me into your space. I feel like what we've got going on here at the brewery and the stowaway is just so cool, and I'm thrilled, truly thrilled to be a part of it.
Thanks so much.
Thanks again to Strangers and Saints for sponsoring that chat with Adam. You can definitely stop by Adam's Nest and pick up a copy of Adam's book. I have a copy. I read it on the beach the other day. It doesn't take long. It's a really nice read. It's a feel-good read, and it very much inspired me to move forward in my life with new direction. And I think the tagline, queer people everywhere are responsible, or queer people anywhere are responsible for queer people everywhere.
I love that.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely worth to live by. Awesome.
Our chat with Chastity and Athena from the Transgender Emergency Fund is sponsored by Cafe Heaven, 199 Commercial Street, the best blueberry pancakes on the face of
blueberry
the earth.
pancakes.
And don't you want some now?
Thank you so much for coming by today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. You said it's your second time in Provincetown?
Yes.
Well, welcome back. And you're loving it?
It's amazing.
Isn't
It's
September the best,
amazing.
though?
The weather-wise, I'm enjoying it.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like the rain just sets the ambience right.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. Nothing like a misty Cape Cod day.
Yes.
Well, I met you a few weeks ago when you had an event here at Provincetown Brewing Company. You're one of the charities that for their Draftivism Fund.
Yes, it was amazing. We are so grateful for Provincetown Brewery for choosing us to be a part of that, and also allowing us to have our event here.
Oh, totally.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun. I was working it and I still had fun, so yeah. So tell us a little about the Transgender Emergency Fund.
So the Transgender Emergency Fund started in 2008 out of the need of a homeless trans woman in Worcester who needed assistance from homelessness prevention. And a trans man in Worcester, he got a group of friends together and they came together and raised funds. And it was so much funds that it was like, okay, we can help more than one person.
That's amazing.
And then I became a recipient of the Trans Emergency Fund back in 2012. After leaving an abusive relationship, I found myself homeless and indulging in survival sex work, survival drug use, and somebody told me about the Transgender Emergency Fund, and it literally saved my life. And that's what we do. We break that cycle of oppression and try to provide transgender folks across the state with the tools and resources that are needed to be sustainable. So that's just a little tidbit of what we do. And today I'm the director of the Transgender Emergency Fund. Athena is the assistant director. And what we do is every day we get a ton of applications of people just needing basic necessities. So we provide rental startup, homelessness prevention. We assist with utility bills, prescription co-payments, nutrition. We just started our new nutrition program back in May, where every 2 weeks we deliver fresh produce across the state to transgender and gender nonconforming individuals who are low income and can use the extra food. And our biggest thing right now is trying to obtain a building for our transitional housing program.
That's amazing.
Because we need to be able to provide this shelter space while people are obtaining the tools and resources needed to be sustainable in such a wealthy state as Massachusetts.
Right.
And along with Athena, who is not only the assistant director of the Transit Emergency Fund, she's also the director of Trans Resistance, which was just formed back in June in light of the increased murders of trans women of color, the hate and rhetoric that we get from this current White House administration. And at that point, we just said enough is enough. I would like to give Athena a chance to talk briefly about the Trans Resistance and what it stands for, and how you all may be able to assist us in this fight going forward.
Of course.
Oh, now?
You're on.
So Trans Resistance was created, I remember, with George Floyd passing away, and then a transgender woman was attacked, and then with all the trans deaths that was going on, and then everyone was doing these Black Lives Matter marches and everything. I thought it was amazing, and I'm like, but no one is speaking to the fact that our trans women are being killed, who also are of color. And so I remember everyone was talking about doing a march and everything, and so I remember Pride had happened in Boston, and Boston Pride had really royally messed up because they had took the Black Lives Matter piece from out of their report that they were releasing for Pride. And so it caused a whole uproar in Boston, because realizing and remembering it was trans women of color who actually gave Pride a name and gave it a space for individuals to actually be able to celebrate each other. And so speaking at in front of the State House this year reminded me to remember that all of the celebrating that's going on, what are we actually celebrating for? And so we're dying marginally, we're homeless marginally, and we're starving. And at this point in time, we're celebrating being trans and being LGBTQ and everything else, but we're dying every day. And so I remember somebody had came to me like, oh, we would love you to speak at the march. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll speak at the march. And then it turned into, can you help us put the march together? And I'm like, I've never put a march together, but you know, I don't see how hard it could be. It turned into, you're in charge. And I'm like,
cool.
I came to give some advice. So I remember I called Chastity maybe like 10 minutes later. And I'm like, hey, so on June 13th, we're gonna do a march. And she was like, what? I'm like, yeah, we're supposed to do a march. And so somebody has come to me with this idea, and they would like to donate all the proceeds because people want to donate money to the Transgender Emergency Fund. Now, I'm not a full recipient of the Transgender Emergency Fund, but when I owned a house earlier this year and into last year, the Transgender Emergency Fund has housed some trans women in my home and have paid for them to live there, brought food and stuff like that, and supplied clothes and all of that to live there. And so I think the program was a great program, and I'm like, I would love to be able to get back into this program. And we've known each other now for about 5-6 years. And so we had always talked about doing a march. We've always talked about the expansion of the Transgender Emergency Fund and what it's to look like. And so being a licensed minister, I'm always, it's our job, I feel, to be on the front line fighting. Even though ministers now are behind the scenes, you know, driving Cadillacs and Mercedes-Benz and, you know, getting fat. That's not me. I was always big, so I'm not worried about that. And I also don't drive a Cadillac or Mercedes-Benz. I drive a Kia Soul. So, and I'm struggling like everybody else. But I remember that I said that this is something that actually is needed. And so Trans Resistance, I was like, I would love for Trans Resistance to become its own entity as far as social justice, as far as fighting for trans rights, as far as speaking up and putting together events for trans individuals to have a space, and not always talking about being that, like Pride, always saying we're throwing a Pride for you all, and then we don't hear from you all until June again. But yet, and you have all this community money that you're getting, you have all of this corporate sponsorships that you're getting, and you claim that the money is going straight into Pride, but you know, I've heard through the grapevine from some people that sit on their board and stuff like that, their community and everything about their finances, and it was very questionable to see how a bank gave you all over $1 million, but your reported revenue supposedly is $500,000 that you gave out for Pride. Where's that other $500,000 is what I'm wondering.
Right.
And please don't tell me that you gave the money back to the community, because you also told me that you raised $80,000 separately from that money to give back to the community. So where's the rest of this money? So Trans Resistance is an entity and an organization to absorb funds, to send back out, to actually give back to communities, to be able to help communities like community members, community partners, and all that, and then partnershiping with other communities to be able to create a space. And so next year, after the march, people was like, we want this to continue to keep happening, so we're going to create our own Pride for next year.
That's amazing.
And so through that process, creating a nonprofit, which is what we have done, registered with the state, which is what we have done. And so now we're finalizing our bylaws so that we can do the 501c3 process and get that out of the way. But we are going to start. We are starting to receive to drop our sponsorship letters to send out, asking everyone to not necessarily denounce Pride, but maybe for this year, for 2021, that we don't back Pride, because Pride is like a child, and if you do not teach that child discipline, there's a problem. And so what they think is that it's okay just to be like, oh, we're sorry, and then move on. No. And that is the problem. It has always been the problem, is that as soon as somebody says we're sorry, we're supposed to be like, oh, okay, we forgive you, let's leave it at that. No, we forgive you, but now let's unpack why this happened.
There has to
And
be
let's
action
figure it out.
after
You know
that.
what I'm saying? And so that's what Trans Resistance is also doing. And then also any funds that come out, we also allocate at least 10 to 15% to go right back into the Trans Emergency Fund, because again, trans housing is a necessity. I spoke about it at the State House, which is funny, one of the senators is here and came and said hi to us. And so, and that is something I really talked about, is that we have people in the state, we have people in these offices that are always talking about fighting for our rights and everything, and it sounds good, and you can pull the wool over our eyes, but for so long, and it's been done so long to the point where people don't believe in politicians no more. People don't believe in our presidency, they don't believe in our governors and our mayors, because it's all a race about stuffing your pockets and lining the pockets of those who actually don't care about the individuals that are actually out here on the front lines dying and being murdered and all this other stuff. And so now it's a call to stop all that, to actually put your money where your mouth is. And so it's like a call to action is what Trans Resistance is. And so it's like a co-partnership with the Trans Emergency Fund as well.
And when we say that, with that being said, it's two totally different entities, and we'd like to keep it separate because one is providing direct services to trans and gender non-conforming folks across the state, but also then Trans Resistance is all about social justice reform. So if anybody is interested in volunteering or donating to either organization, wherever one lines your heart, you know, you can always reach out to us at transgenderemergencyfund.org
or Trans Resistance MA. So it's literally transresistancema@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook as well.
Awesome.
And then also, if you cannot find Trans Emergency Fund, you can donate to us and we can shift the money, and vice versa. It's not laundering. We just want to be clear. And it's bad to have to say that, and we talk about this all the time. Even when she stepped into the role of director, and I'm stepping into the role of assistant director, growing up, my grandma used to always say you have to make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's. Especially being people of color, stepping into an entity that can be so powerful to receive so much funding, everyone's expecting your hands to always be dirty. And so we always talked about like making sure that things are on the up and up, we don't want to even touch the money if we don't have to. We'd rather bring in an organization with people who know about filing taxes for corporate organizations and nonprofits and stuff like that, that be able to handle all that, so that we don't have to worry about later on down the line when it's time for us to file taxes. And they're like,
and speaking of that, let's just plug our accountants out there. Shout out to Gonzalez Associates, which is a lesbian-owned accounting firm in Boston, Massachusetts.
Amazing.
Yes.
People always say people are starting to come around to the idea that trans people need our attention at the moment because of the rates at which they're dying, at the rates at which they're being murdered. And I feel like this is specifically an incredible way to support that movement, because it's breaking the cycle and giving people a little leg up to be in the place that they want to be. Awesome.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Oh wait, there's also just a little check here from the
the brewery
Brewing Company in association with the Dorchester Brewing Company. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. All right, we do, you know, abide by COVID-19 guidelines, but I need a hug. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming and chatting, and we'll be paying attention to everything you do.
And come back often.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Let
We'll
us
be
know
back.
when you're back in P-Town. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Our next segment is our game Pop Poetry. Where's your phone?
Oh, yeah.
This game is sponsored by the Red Inn. If you call in and guess the right artist and the right song title, you're going to win a $50 gift card to the Red Inn. which is located at 15 Commercial Street and is going to be open until Halloween this year, November 1st or 2nd, actually. I think whatever the end of that weekend is.
Yeah.
We're crawling across the finish line.
We're gonna make it.
We had a great summer.
Yeah, it was really nice.
So what's your number, Harry?
My phone number is 617-676-7597, and you can call right in. Bob picked the song this week. Just want to be clear. I've also heard the song a billion times and now that I'm reading the lyrics, I'm like, wow. Let's take it away.
Good luck, everybody.
Get that number ready.
into your phone.
617-676-7597. You ready?
I'm ready. Are you
Okay,
ready?
let me open the phone for you first,
Okay.
just so.
Good luck, everybody. Call in fast if you know it.
Perfect.
Classics only for pop poetry.
Right. Okay, let's go.
Go.
So let's go home and draw the curtains. Music on the radio. Come on, baby. I hate you. Make sweet love to me. Am I hard enough? Am I rough enough? Am I rich enough? I'm not too blind to see. Oh, little sister. Pretty, pretty, pretty girls. Ooh, you're a pretty, 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 pretty girl. Wanted to make sure I got all those pretties in.
We have a caller. Caller, can you hear me? Caller, can you hear me?
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Barry. Where are you calling us from?
Making it too easy. Provincetown.
Ooh.
Was this too easy?
Yeah.
What's the name of the song and the name of the band?
It's diverted by the Rolling Stones.
It is Vista Burden by the Rolling Stones.
Congratulations, Barry. You just won yourself a $50 gift card to the Red Inn. Molly, what does that song sound like?
Yeah, that's a great song.
It's a jam.
Never
classic.
realized how just blatantly filthy the lyrics are.
That was Mick and Keith's whole thing.
Yeah.
Blatantly filthy.
So next we have our live performer. It is sponsored by Be Well Cannabis. Stop by and see them. They are newly open, so make sure to support that locally owned business. Today we have LMNOP. Used to be a Provincetown staple, and now she is back.
Glam rock drag.
Still a
dandy.
staple, just not here the whole summer.
You may have seen her show in 2016, her residency at the Crown and Anchor, What the L?
Featuring the Bob Keary.
People still ask me about that character that I played all summer, the village asshole.
He's
They
still-
were
you're
"How did
still
you-
playing it."
They're like, how did you get Ella to cast you as something so close to your real life persona? And I was like, Love you, lady.
Don't worry, Elle, he is still filling that role.
Take it away, Al.
Hello, Provincetown. How you been? It's me, the Dragon Tent. What do we do? How you came from Miami, LA. Hitchhiked away across the USA. She loved her eyebrows along the way. Shaved her legs, and then he was a she. She said, hey, baby, take a walk on the wild side. She said, hey, honey, take a walk on the wild side. Alright. Kenny came from out on the island. Oh, in the back room, she was everybody's darling. But she never lost her head. Even when she was giving head, she said, hey, baby, take a walk on the wild side. She said, hey, honey, take a walk on the wild side. And the queers all go. Now you, oh my gosh, Provincetown, you're sounding amazing. I didn't see you all at rehearsal, but this is on point. hustle here and a hustle there. New York City is the place where I said, hey, baby, take a walk on the wild side. I said, hey, Joe, take a walk on the wild side, alright. Sugar Plum Fairy came to hit the streets. Now she was looking for soul food and a place to eat. She went down to the Apollo. You should have seen her go, go, go. I said, hey, sugar, take a walk on the wild side. And I said, hey, sugar, take a walk on the wild side. Alright, alright. Do, da, do, da, do, 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 da, 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 da. Jackie was just speeding away. Oh, she thought she was James Dean for a day. But then I guess she had to crash. The Valium would have helped that dash. I said, hey, baby, take a walk on the wild side. And I said, hey, sugar, take a walk on the wild side. And the queers all go do, da do, da do, 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 da do, da do, da 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 da. Ba ba da boo ba. Did you get that? Now do all of that exactly. Please, at home, lift the spirits. That's not Mike Flanagan. That's what $1.69 gets you on iTunes these days. And remember, Provincetown, the human experience isn't just a spectrum. It's a deep, beautiful diamond. We are all just human. We are all just people. This isn't anything new. We've been here. These are the ladies, the women, the people who fought for our rights. So let's please fucking continue them. Thank you.
You know what she said? I gotta go to Chicago.
That was incredible.
That was gorgeous.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't you love waking up in Provincetown?
I love waking up in Provincetown. It's like the highlight of my 2 weeks. One of the highlights of my 2 weeks.
I think you. This is Ruben Gonzalez.
Hi, everybody.
This chat with Ruben is sponsored by Victor's Restaurant. Go to Victor's right now. Well, they're not open, so don't go right now. But go later when they're
Go get
open.
in line.
At 3.
Perfect.
Ruben is from the Victory Fund and the Victory Institute.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's such a treat to wake up in Provincetown, and to be on Wake Up in Provincetown is a highlight of my vacation. So thank you all for having me.
You've been here for 2 weeks.
I've been here for 2 weeks. This
Today's
is the
your
last day.
This is your last hurrah in town.
My housemates are literally packing up right now
and you're like,
hating me.
darn, I can't be there.
Yeah, they're probably on Facebook Live cursing my name right now. Hey guys.
So you're in a very busy time, I would imagine, at the moment. Explain to us a little about what the Victory Fund does for our viewers that might not know.
Victory is dedicated to building a pipeline of LGBTQ public leaders. So we do that by endorsing elected officials on the Victory Fund side, people who are running for office. And we also do that by training people who want to run for office, inspiring people to careers in public leadership. We also work on federal appointments. So really any sort of public leaders, Victory is ensuring that we have LGBTQ people within their ranks.
Great. And the ultimate goal is to reach the same percentage of queer people in the world as queer leaderships.
Absolutely. So we look at a number of 4.5%. That's sort of a conservative estimate of how many LGBTQ plus people there are in the United States. And we use that number as we look at any sort of like body of governors, body of senators, body of House of Representatives, and we want to see 4.5% of them. So that would be, how many senators are there? Hundreds. So that would be, between 4 and 5 senators. So we still have some work to go on most areas. There's actually 20,000 people that we would need to elect in order to get 4.5% of elected leaders in the country. We have about 860 right now. So we need a lot more people to run for office.
That's great. And I'm sure we have people watching right now that are would be amazing at that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And our previous guests that were on the show, the entire time they were talking, I was thinking about each of them running for office in Massachusetts and how incredible they would be. And Victory works with people like our previous guests to help them to build a network of people to support them, to build their skills, to build, how to door knock and how to get out the vote and how to build a field plan. And so we really help people put together the nuts and bolts of a campaign so they can win.
Me and Bob were featured on a Victory Fund talk earlier this summer. Yeah,
I saw that.
The Provincetown chat. Right, shaking a drink.
Yeah.
And I heard it was really successful, which I was very happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, with one of our favorites, Senator Julian Sear was on there.
He's one of our favorites too.
Yeah, he's been such a great host. We have Representative Sarah Peake and Senator Julian Sear both representing in the Senate and House of Representatives for Massachusetts here, so it's always great to see them. But we have a really strong network of elected officials that love to hang out in Provincetown. You may have seen Representative Brian Sims around town this week also, but you always see a lot of elected officials here.
Yeah, we had Malcolm Kenyatta here a few times. He was the first time I had heard of him was when we were on the Victory Fund chat. Right. He was on that one, and since then I've been really paying attention. He is really incredible.
Yeah, he's incredible. He was featured in the Democratic Convention as one of the 17 keynote addresses. There was also Representative Sam Park from Georgia, openly gay man, and Mayor Robert Garcia from Long Beach. So we had 3 out of those 17 were ours. I think that's
really exciting. I think that was
yeah.
the first time any out queer people were featured at the Democratic National Convention.
It was the first time they'd done the keynote address. There have been folks that have been featured speakers, but the keynote address is always sort of that special moment. Barack Obama became famous after doing the keynote address. Secretary Julian Castro did the keynote address. So to include 3 queer people in the keynote address was really something remarkable.
Yeah, and it was really special because Malcolm had his fiance with him. They thanked Biden for his work for marriage equality.
It was a really great moment, I thought.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the Victory Institute is specifically working on an initiative to get more queer people involved in the White House.
Correct. So Victory Institute has an ongoing project, the Presidential Appointments Initiative, where we seek to get people into a presidential administration. It is ongoing. It happens during the Trump administration as well. We've only had not very many people submit their applications to want to be part of the Trump administration, but
I wonder why.
It's still out there. Who knows? But this summer, we've already had 300 people apply to be part of a future administration, to be part of, hopefully, if they want to be part of a Democratic administration. So we have seen a surge of people interested in being a part of that. The Obama administration had over 300 LGBTQ people in the administration, so Victory is looking to beat that number. We're also looking to have the first ever Senate-approved LGBTQ cabinet member ever in the history of our country.
That would be really exciting.
Who do you think it's going to be? Which position?
Mayor Pete Buttigieg has done a lot of work to help Vice President Biden in the campaign. I think that would be sort of a safe bet to make, that Mayor Buttigieg will see himself in the cabinet. People talk about him as a UN ambassador, but there's a lot of great roles.
He speaks like 8 languages or something,
yeah,
he'd be great at that.
But there's so many people in our community that could be as a part of a cabinet. Dr. Rachel Levine is the Pennsylvania Secretary of Health. She's an openly transgender woman, is incredible, is leading their fight against COVID. She would be somebody who would be amazing as the U.S. Surgeon General or as our Secretary of Health. There's some really incredible people out there from our community that we want to help find a way into the administration.
Yeah, I think demanding a voice is very important for representation and for all of us to be represented well.
Absolutely. We're looking to make some historic firsts. There's never been a woman LGBTQ ambassador. We've had many gay men as ambassadors, but never a woman, never a transgender ambassador, never an LGBTQ person of color. And so we're looking to get some diversity there as well. We're also looking to get 4.5% of the administration to be LGBTQ people. So that'd be about 185 positions in the future administration. The Trump administration has not gotten there yet to 185. No. I know it's a shocker to everyone watching, but they haven't hit that number yet. But we're hoping to get to 185 in the next administration.
That's great. So you're supporting candidates as they run for office, and this cycle has been really interesting because there's been, I'm sure you're maybe helping some of them through scandal?
Well, what we're seeing is that the anti-LGBTQ side has been really kind of ugly in their attacks in a way they haven't been in previous years. people are probably very familiar with Mayor Alex Morse's race for Congress. He was sort of unfairly damaged in the campaign by some accusations that were later sort of rescinded. The group actually apologized to him for making the accusations, but the other side really ran with it. And in this case, this was Democrats doing this against a Democrat, right?
Yikes.
And so we see it as a homophobic attack. We know that those who fight against us sometimes use our sexuality, our sex lives, our personal lives in order to demonize us because it can be scary. And so they take an accusation like what was against Alex Morse and really kind of blow it out there to get people to be afraid of what it means to support a gay man in a position for Congress. And we're seeing more of that. There's John Hoadley, who's a representative in Michigan, who's running for Congress as well. He's had some of his live journals, and imagine your live journals are from 20 years ago, are out there for everyone to see. All of your writings in college in your dorm room at night are now part of your campaign. And so people are looking at those and really taking the stuff he wrote in college out of context to paint him in a really ugly light. And so we're seeing it in a way that we haven't really seen before. So Victory, what we're doing is to make sure that our folks are prepared for that. Victory is also pushing back forcefully against those attacks. We don't want anyone who's LGBTQ to be afraid to run for office because they're afraid of these kinds of attacks.
Right.
And so we want them to know Victory will have their backs. Victory will push back on them, even if it means pushing back against an ally like Representative Richard Neal. But we will do that in order to make sure that it's a safe place for people that are LGBTQ to run for office.
Right, it's almost more nefarious to use other people's homophobia for your own means.
Right.
And that's kind of what it feels like. It's like, I know you're afraid of this, so I'm gonna like really amp it up to get my, that almost seems worse.
Yeah, in the same way that we've seen, dog whistle politics around race kind of become more flagrant in the last 3.5 years. We're seeing that against LGBTQ people as well, which may have been a dog whistle 3 years ago. Now it's a really kind of loud bell saying like, hey, this is a scary person who did these things and said this terrible stuff in college. And they're using it to make you afraid of voting for a gay man. And we know that it's a homophobic attack and we will always push back against it.
Yeah, I feel like things like this are going to have to be talked about in the coming years because even outside of queer people, there's generations that are now coming of age who want to get involved and want to become leaders, and it's who's in their mid-30s that doesn't have some embarrassing thing on the internet from when they were 20.
Right. And you think about text message chains or messages you send somebody, photos you send somebody, all of that stuff taken out of context can be not very good for a campaign. So we want to work with people to help them through that, to figure out what are the best ways to push back against that, for Victory to have their back. We also have the network of LGBTQ elected officials. There are 860 of them across the country. They work with each other and support each other in that as well.
Yeah, and I feel that a lot here.
Yeah.
Like there's always, especially with being friends with Julian, has an elected official visiting him almost every week.
He's definitely like most popular girl in our network.
He's the most popular girl in our network too. So how can people contribute to the Victory Fund?
So people can go on to Victory Institute's website or Victory Funds. At the Victory Funds website, you can donate to candidates specifically that are running for office. At Victory Institute's website, you can donate to sort of build that long-term pipeline of LGBTQ leaders. For anyone interested in the Presidential Appointments Initiative as well, you can also submit your resume there. And there's positions that are very kind of entry level. If you're a person who is getting off a campaign or just graduated from college, or if you're a person with dozens of years of experience in a specific field, Victory can help you find a place amongst those thousands of positions that are open in the federal government. So we would love for anyone who's interested to apply and put their names in.
Town manager / crier / cabinet member, Bob?
Totally.
Perfect.
You've got it all.
We got someone for you.
Wig maker?
Cabinet maker? Cabinet member? No, I'll do it all. Anything.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for being here
guys.
today.
It was so
truly
good
a
to
pleasure.
See you. And really appreciate it.
Safe travels home, and we'll see you next time you're in Provincetown.
Yeah, hopefully it will be very soon.
Perfect.
All right.
At least Halloween.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for watching the show this morning. We have a very special outro for you today. Thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you to all our guests. This was a really special one. I feel like we got some really great information out there. Yeah. How are we ending today's show, Bob?
Well, you have to say your tagline.
Oh. Thank you for waking up in Provincetown, wherever you are.
And thank you to Penny Champagne, and thank you to Tim Dudley, who submitted this video. Tim took this at the final Showgirls, I want to say 2 years ago.
So the official end of summer is in Provincetown is, we feel, is when Penny Champagne does her number of Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks.
At the Showgirls Awards.
Everyone has a candle, and then everyone blows their candle out at the same time, and that's like kind of the moment summer feels like it's over. So we were lucky enough to get a video of Penny Champagne performing from years past, and that is how we're going to end our episode this morning.
If you look closely, you can see me sitting in the audience being like, oh.
Weeping, openly weeping.
Enjoy this, guys.
Thank you all.
And can I sail through the changing ocean time? Can I handle the season of my life? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, children get older, I'm getting older too. Yes, I'm getting older too.
We want you to have the most wonderful winter, and we'll see you in the spring. And you all be good to each other and to yourselves especially. I love you very much.
I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, children get older, I'm getting older too. Yes, I'm getting older too. So take this love, take it down. Oh, if you climb a mountain and you turn around, if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, where the landslide will bring it down, down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, maybe the landslide will bring it down. Well, the landslide will bring it down.
Good night, everyone, and thank you.